What up, folks? I'm back once again doing another video game review, and this time I'm reviewing Double Dragon 2: The Revenge for the NES. And this time, instead of Freddy West doing this sequel for the first Double Dragon game, Acclaim was given the responsibility of making Double Dragon 2: The Revenge. Now, pretty much like the first Double Dragon game, Double Dragon 2 is pretty much started off as an arcade game that was ported later, like a couple of years later, for the NES. But Acclaim chose to keep the two-player co-op for the NES port, and they didn't use the RPG element that was used in the first Double Dragon game, which are moves. So you have all your moves from the moment you start. You made your selection from the selection screen. Now the premise of Double Dragon 2: The Revenge is that Billy's girlfriend Marion got murdered by the Shadow Gang, and him and Jimmy go out to get him because of what had happened. And one thing about Double Dragon is that a lot of the enemies from the first game, I would say, with the exception of the final boss of the sequel, don't make it into the sequel. You know, I'm not like 100% sure of that. If that's the case, let me know in the comment section. But it does have a lot of like enemies that you don't see in the first one. And then there's like the weapons. In the first one you have baseball bats, knives, dynamite, boxes, oil drums, and stuff like that. With this one, they pretty much changed the type of weapons you use and reduced the number of weapons you use. It's like you only have like 4. There's the knife, the lead pipe, chain whip, and dynamite. That's all there is to that. Honestly, I wish there were like more weapons you can use, but they didn't program it, so it's not that big of a deal though. You know, and the moves you use pretty much range from punches and uppercuts to like back kick to this thing that's pretty much like a hurricane style spin kick, which is one of the strongest moves you can use in the game. Now Double Dragon 2: The Revenge has like around 7 to 8 stages to it, some of which only last like a couple of minutes. So like the stage 2 and stage 3 are really short. So both of them last that long. So like those are the only 2 I can remember that last that long, like really that short. And the one thing you will notice is it's really like a selection screen where you select 1 or 2 players. But with the 2-player co-op, there's a 2-player A and a 2-player B. It's kind of like the 2-player A is where you and a friend can play in this beat 'em up, but you don't hurt each other. While 2-player B is where you can hurt each other. And the more unusual aspect of the select screen is the bottom half of it, where you select. It has 3 options to select from, where you go up to a certain point in the game. The first option is where you go up to the 3rd stage, where it's pretty much where you're fighting in a helicopter. The second option is where you can only go up to the 1 stage where you fight the doppelganger. This is like one stage where one stage prior to the final boss, and then the 3rd option is called Dragon Master, I think. where this you got the game in its entirety. One thing I can say is that the graphics and level designs for Double Dragon 2 are pretty good. Some will say that the graphics to the first one is pretty much better than this one, but to each his own. To me, best aspect to Double Dragon 2: The Revenge is the soundtrack. It is, I could say it's slightly better than the first one. If you want to know the truth about it. Then there's the second stage of music where people pretty much compared it to the Phil Collins song "Easy Lover," which from the standpoint where the song say that it got its inspiration from that particular song. I don't think when I first played it, I didn't notice any connection to that Phil Collins song, but it is what it is. It is like I like that particular song for that stage. And the controls are good, they're decent. The one work I do have about the controls is like it's hard to do the hurricane spin kick, the super knee, and the super uppercut at times. You know, that's the only gripe I have with the controls. But as far as the selection screen is concerned, I guess what I don't get is like why they have a two-player B to where you and somebody can hurt each other in the game. That really don't make any sense. But I think most people pretty much selected the two-player co-op where Jimmy and Billy and Jimmy don't hurt each other. But the one thing about this selection stream that was unnecessary. Man, okay. Let me continue. Anyway, the one thing I didn't get about the selection screen of Double Dragon 2: The Revenge is the bottom half where they have you selected one of three options, which includes the Dragon Warrior and the other two where you go up to, including the first option where you go up to the third stage, and the second option where you go up to the stage where you fight your doppelganger. That part of the selection screen just didn't make any sense. Why? It's kind of like, why did they put it in there to begin with? You know, so that part of the selection screen was unnecessary to put in there, because most people it's gonna like select the final part where you play the entire game. Plus, there's no other NES game that I'm aware of in terms of like whether it's a beat 'em up or a side scroller or even RPGs don't even have this as an option in terms of how far you can allow to progress the entire game. That part of the Double Dragon 2 should not have made it in the game. Now, as far as the score, I would like definitely give it an 8 with the complaints that I do have with it, but for the most part, they're not that big of a deal. Plus, Double Dragon 2 is like slightly harder than Double Dragon, but it's not the type of difficulty where you want to break your controller, but it's like more challenging than anything else. Now, with that being said, if you like Double Dragon 2 or Double Dragon 2 is your favorite beat 'em up, you can mention that. But if you like this video, don't be afraid. Don't hesitate to thumbs it up, and don't forget to subscribe. This is your boy Big Metroid Fan 12 signing off.